Hello and welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. And welcome, my friends, to Secret Origins Month. So a lot of people were confused by my statement last week about who I'd be covering here for a character who started out on TV before comics, with many guessing that I'd finally be covering Harley Quinn's first comic appearance. I did that 2 years ago. We're talking about Barbara Gordon's Batgirl. But wait, some of you yell as you parachute into the comments section to actually me. Barbara's Batgirl premiered before her appearance on TV in the Adam West Batman series. You're not wrong, and in fact there is a prior Batgirl to Barbara, spelled with a hyphen in her name because I don't know. And normally I cover the very first version of a character before their more popular iteration. But let's face it, that Batgirl is known these days by a different moniker anyway, Flamebird. As we have talked about before, Frederick Wortham wrote in his book Seduction of the Innocent that Batman and Robin may be in a gay relationship. Also, I guess equating homosexuality and pedophilia. They did that a lot back then. And in the 50s and 60s, that was a no-no, so DC decided that we've got to make sure that Batman has a case of the not gays, introducing the character of Batwoman, without a hyphen because only adults are allowed to have non-hyphenated names, as a romantic interest for Bruce. A few years later, she was given her own Robin in the form of her niece, Betty Kane, as Bat-Girl. While editor Julius Schwartz dropped the two along with several other elements for a new direction for the series in 1964, they were not completely erased from history. Batwoman coming out of retirement a couple of times and eventually getting killed by the League of Assassins, while Betty would get revamped as Flamebird later and associated with Robin and the Teen Titans. But let's get back to Barbara. Yes, she did debut in comics before her appearance on the TV series. But she was created for the sake of the TV series. Viewership of the Adam West Batman series was beginning to decline as the third season was approaching. Producer William Dozier contacted DC and asked them to create a female counterpart to Batman to try to get a new female fan base for the show. Comic books as an IP factory for other mediums. A proud tradition! Dozier was the one who apparently suggested that the new character could be Commissioner Gordon's daughter. When the producers saw the concept sketches for her by Carmine Infantino, they immediately optioned the character and, well, TV history was made as the very purple Batgirl portrayed by Yvonne Craig appeared several months after her debut in Detective Comics. And with that, let's talk about that debut as we dig into Detective Comics number 359.
Atop the fourth wall, when bad comics burn, Linkara's gonna teach you all a lesson you won't learn. What's with these awkward subjects? What's all this art so rubbish? To anyone who's had a bad comic published, it could be your turn. Linkara, he is a man who punch sporadically or grouch. Linkara, he has his own spaceship, but he's always on his couch. Linkara, a universe in flux. Linkara, this comic sucks. Linkara.
The cover's not super impressive, basically just being Batman, Robin, and Batgirl against a solid purple color, but that's because the focus is on Batgirl herself's debut, and the abundant amount of text surrounding her. Meet the new Batgirl! Why is new green and emanating lines from it? She's new because she's radioactive! That can't be good! Is she heroine or villainess? Heroiness! What is her startling secret identity? Alfred? The $1 million debut of Batgirl! Man, I know older comics can be worth money, but I didn't think Batgirl's debut had gotten that big yet. We open on the standard issue splash page previewing the story ahead. Out of the superstar-studded firmament of Gotham City, where Batman and Robin shine supreme as masked manhunters, bursts a brand new luminary, Batgirl! Unfortunately, she goes overlooked in an oversaturated market. And like that very Batman after whom she models herself, she too battles crime and injustice in a manner wondrous enough for newspapers to proclaim in banner headlines, the $1 million debut of Batgirl. Her merchandising deal puts all others to shame. We see a somewhat strange scene here. Batgirl is falling towards a green car, though the implication, I think, is that the villain, Killer Moth, is supposed to be throwing her, but if he did, then the motion lines seem to suggest that she stopped halfway to the ground and then started falling at a different angle. Or maybe her leap is unrelated and what Killer Moth is actually throwing in the ground is that giant yellow ball that might be the moon, or the sun, or maybe just a giant egg yolk. And what's funny is that this still ignores Killer Moth's outfit. Purple top, a not moth insignia, green helmet that more resembles a grasshopper, a yellow cape, yellow gloves, and green and yellow striped pants.
There. Sure glad I don't look stupid in this.
And the weird thing is that Killer Moth's outfit only very rarely has updated over the years. Most of the time they'll keep the weird-ass color scheme, but will at the very least change his cape into wings, or at least a cape that looks more like wings. Also, Batman is here.
Who is this new Batgirl who seems to have taken over my crime-fighting territory? Damn it, Batgirl, I call dibs on fighting crime here!
We truly open at the Gotham City Library, where Barbara Gordon, daughter of Commissioner Gordon, is working. But not on any librarian stuff, rather a costume for the policeman's masquerade. Now you'd think given her hairstyle she'd be going for Princess Leia about a decade before Star Wars ever happened, but no, she's made a Batgirl outfit for herself. Well, this Batgirl costume really does things for me. I can hardly wait for the midnight unmasking hour, and the shock I'll give Dad, especially after I've flirted with him for a while in it. She drives along the suburban highway, aka this random field in the middle of nowhere, towards the hotel where the masquerade is being held. I made my PhD at Gotham State University. I graduated summa cum laude. I wear a brown belt in judo. But tonight will be the highlight of my life. Screw you, higher education and martial arts training. Wearing a form-fitting outfit at a policeman's ball is the high point of my life. All downhill from here. A little farther ahead in the same random grassy field, Bruce Wayne is also on his way to the party, but he's intercepted by two of Killer Moth's goons, the Mothmen, who shoot out some kind of sticky goo at the car to stop it. Barbara spots them pulling Bruce out of the car. Why, that's Bruce Wayne they're attacking, Daddy's millionaire friend. He's always regarded me as a mousy sort of person. I wonder what he'd say if he knew who it was coming to rescue him. I'll disguise my voice so he doesn't recognize it. Oi, Bruce Wayne! I'll save you, I will!
Okay, we'll workshop this.
The distraction of Batgirl's entrance allows Bruce to run off and change, and indeed, Batgirl uses her judo skills to work, somehow managing to kick this guy in the mothballs. Not sure why this other one is backflipping like this, but you do you, dude. Killer Moth himself shows up, picking her up and tossing her into the sticky netting around the car. Yes, this is that lethal lepidopteran whose exploits have made him a prime enemy of the Caped Crusader. Glad it was his exploits because it certainly wasn't his fashion sense. Killer Moth's thing was kinda neat in that he's one of those inverse Batman kind of characters. In this case, studying up on Batman and all his methodologies while in prison, then hiring himself out to help criminals in their getaways by using a moth signal to summon him for help, and he'd take a cut of the loot. Anyway, Batman shows up and punches Killer Moth, who decides to run the hell away. Oh, and in case you were thinking that Killer Moth could fly with some miniature jetpack or something, but held on that almost invisible wire that reels him upward and away from danger, Killer Moth retreats skyward. What the hell is that attached to? Since Batman is not Spider-Man,
Although I could be if I wanted to. I'm Bat Spider.
He can't really follow afterwards and decides to stick around and free Batgirl and take care of the goons. Her eyes sparkle. Her breath becomes faster. Her heart thumps with alarming speed. Oh God, she's having a heart attack! Babs Gordon is having the time of her life, fully alive to this new excitement and danger, and loving it. God, I've got to find someone else to punch now! Bruce Wayne, where are you? Speaking of, she mentions how Bruce Wayne is in danger, but Batman says he'll take care of it. She explains that she was just on her way to the policeman's ball, but her costume is all ruined now. As for my secret identity, I'll exchange mine for yours.
No deal. As if I would tell you that I'm Bruce Wayne. Damn it, third time this week.
The next day, Barbara is back at her job and realizes that her life is rather humdrum and mundane, missing the thrill of being Batgirl. Over to Bruce and Dick, Bruce receives a letter in the mail.
I secretly went to Europe and had twins? What the hell is this? Oh, this is for Peter Parker. And it's in Harry Osborn's handwriting?
No, the letter is from Killer Moth, who wants money.
Telling me that what happened to Bruce Wayne last night was just a sample of what will happen, unless I pay him $100,000 in cash tonight. My God, he's gonna ruin another one of my cars!
Wow, the old protection racket, in spades. Is it really a protection racket if he's not offering protection? Seems more like just a kidnapping threat. Wondering if Killer Moth is trying to extort money out of other rich people in Gotham, Batman and Robin pay a visit to a few. And by a few, I mean 10, according to Robin. I think they would have gotten the same idea after 3 or 4. And they decide to set a trap for him. They have Alfred deliver a note to the drop-off site that Bruce Wayne won't be paying the money and will have the cops protect him. Killer Moth decides to wait him out, have his goons stake out the place for a few days until the cops leave, then go in to murder him. And indeed, after 3 days, they don't spot any cops and Bruce never seems to leave the house. During that time, Babs works on a new Batgirl costume. I suppose I'll never use it, but I can dream, and this new Batgirl costume will be ready, just in case. You never know when another police masquerade will strike. She changes her diet and starts training herself to be an even better fighter as well. One night, she receives a book intended for Bruce Wayne, and she decides to deliver it to him personally. However, that night at Wayne Manor, she hears a gunshot, spotting through a window Killer Moth seeming to murder Bruce. Thus we enter part 2. Inside of the same issue, as Babs quickly changes into her Batgirl outfit, which she has incorporated into her regular attire. Seriously, her outfit is a frickin' transformer. Her beret turns into her cowl, her skirt reverses and becomes a cape, her boots roll up, and her purse becomes her utility belt. Don't know what happened to her yellow jacket, maybe that became her friggin' gloves. So already Babs has proven to be better at making her costume be as quick change as possible, more than 90% of the superhero population out there, and she hasn't even officially started. Then the real Batgirl, as opposed to all those bootleg knockoff Batgirls out there, I guess, makes her first appearance before the world, and Killer Moth and his Mothmen. How is it to the world when it's in an isolated mansion and she's doing it to the people who have already seen her in this outfit before? She quickly gets to work beating the crap out of the goons, but it turns out Batman and Robin are watching from another room. They're a little annoyed at her interference in their plan, but don't make themselves known, waiting for her to knock the goons into their room, which she does so. They finish off rendering them unconscious, then grab her and pull her in, covering her mouth to not reveal herself. The goons decide to run off. She must have knocked herself out! Knocked herself out.
Your incompetence is staggering.
Just, like, wouldn't a better line be, let's get out of here while she's in there or something? Ugh. Whatever, Batman explains to her that this was part of the plan. Bruce Wayne is safe and sound, and the person Killer Moth shot was just a lifelike dummy. They were gonna follow Killer Moth to his hideout to capture him and recover all the stolen money. Batgirl feels bad about ruining the plan, though in her defense, how the hell was she supposed to know that? But Robin says they planted a tracker on the Mothmobile. Again, Killer Moth's deal was mimicking Batman, but for evil. And bright, garish outfits. Anyway, she wants to come along, but Batman says no.
This is a case for Batman and Robin.
I'm sorry, but you must understand that we can't worry ourselves about a girl. Even though I've seen you kick people's asses twice, I just know that your boobs would get in the way of fighting crime. Batgirl, naturally, is not going to get upstaged in her own debut, so fortunately she has a custom moped or something in the trunk of her car with a bat logo on it that she uses to chase after. And then over to the Mothmobile and pfft, wow! That design. You know, the Mothmobile has 3 settings. Everyone soon arrives at the hideout. Batman and Robin head in, but Killer Moth spots them approaching on his weird bug-shaped display screen. You know, there comes a point where your gimmick is just impractical, dude. Whatever room the two enter into suddenly makes them float in the air. Robin, I told you we shouldn't have had any of those fizzy lifting drinks. This is all your fault. Batman claims it's a gravity-free chamber that astronauts use to practice orbital flights in. And I am dubious of that claim, but whatever. Point is, Batgirl spots them and tells them she has an idea to bring them down. She grabs the magnetically attached tracking device from the Mothmobile and ties it to one of her boots. Then she keeps her foot attached to a metal baseboard and is able to reach in and grab the two, pulling them out of the room. Sliding her magnetic boot along the baseboard, the Domino Daredoll. Okay, alliteration is one thing, but somehow I don't think Dominoed Daredoll is gonna catch on the same way Caped Crusader has. After knocking out some goons, they head down deeper into the lair. They think there's only one way in or out, so Killer Moth couldn't have gone past them, but Batgirl soon finds him behind a false panel. After he's knocked out, Batman deduces how Batgirl found him. She's wearing perfume, and when she came in contact with Killer Moth at Wayne Manor, some of it must have gotten on him and she was able to smell it. Still, she thinks he should be grateful for the help. Well, since you brought it up, I could have escaped, and was about to when you appeared, by firing my laser torch, using the principle of action and reaction to reach safety. Yeah, you stupid girl, I don't need your help. You are completely superfluous. Robin, make a note to pack the laser torch from now on. And soon the three are meeting Commissioner Gordon, and while Batman was a bit of a dick there by saying he didn't need her help, he says he welcomes the crime-fighting assistance and knows that she won't take a backseat to anyone. And so our comic ends with Barbara and Jim Gordon at home. That Batgirl sure is tops in my book. Harumph! Too bad you couldn't be a little more like her, Babs. Commissioner Gore-Dick. Like, what the hell, man? She's your daughter. Anyway, this origin is pretty decent. Admittedly, wanting to do it for the thrill of it is a bit weak, but it's not like Babs is shown as being amoral or anything. She did it to help Bruce Wayne, then followed up by wanting to bring Killer Moth to justice after what she thought happened to Bruce. But yeah, a lot of characterization thrown in for a short story intended to just introduce her to us. And hey, keeping her identity a secret from Batman, an aspect carried over to the Adam West series, provided a unique dynamic for her. That being said, the addition of Batman explaining how he could have gotten out of the trap without Batgirl's help seems a bit douchey. Sure, of course Batman would have found a way out, but to actually say it like that comes across like they were afraid people would see Batman as incapable of doing anything without her, even though the comic has already demonstrated she's not perfect, having been trapped in the web or whatever Killer Moth used, as well as her accidentally getting in the way of their plan. She was already shown as fallible, no need to rub it in is all. Still, overall a solid origin, and Carmine Infantino's artwork is great throughout, and the design of the outfit is just classic. Cassandra Cain may be my favorite Batgirl, but Babs' original outfit is definitely great, and kind of hilarious that it has more black in it than Batman's. Next time, Secret Origins Month goes over once again to villains. Sort of. Another example of good guys from bad guys. The Mothmobile, everyone!
Sure, it's phallic. Why wouldn't it be?
I'm sorry, Linkara, but I'm not risking going into his territory until the battle begins. It's too risky that he'd find me and, well, stab me.
Okay, fine. Contest begins, let's do this! So, what's got you so angry, Billy? I've read your dossier. It doesn't have an origin story, but you've killed hundreds of hikers and campers. What'd they do that pissed you off so much? Litter? That's the thing about slasher killers. They have a reason to kill people, even if it's just trespassing or having sex. They're not just mindless automatons, and neither are you. You were able to communicate with me. So what is it, huh? Just some kind of blind rage? Are you a Puritan who doesn't like young people having fun? Do people look at you the wrong way? Why do you kill? Emergency Procedure 4, activate!
Confirmed.
I don't suppose that counts as incapacitation, does it? Guess not.
Information. Force field integrity at 89% and dropping.
Your cells are in a state of necrosis. There's no blood pumping through your veins. And yet, you're still moving. You're still able to move. What would compel a dead body to keep moving? What's moving you? What's keeping you killing? You're cursed. You're cursed!
Information. Force field integrity compromised.
You think? I may not be able to use Pyramid Head in this fight, but maybe I'll just be adding another horror monster to my ranks, eh? Pokeball, go! Worth a shot. Nimble away, Pocket Universe shift now! Estimated time of collapse of the Pocket Universe, Nimbleway?
This unit is unable to give an exact figure. Power requirements to shift and sustain the temporary universe without entropy's collapse have already exceeded acceptable levels. Pocket Universe will not last longer than 6 minutes.
Then I have to think of a plan fast.
Information. We are receiving a transmission from Dr. Lingsano.
Put him through!
Linkara, I've got the answer.
So quickly?
I've actually been here for 3 weeks. Time moves differently between the two universes. Comic-Con 1 is allowing me to stabilize the time differential between universes.
By all means, Doc, help would be appreciated.
Well, I've combed through a lot of historical records, used some DNA comparisons for the few samples that this version of America has been able to find, as well as comparing relative appearances and height and weight and...
Speed is of the essence here, Doc!
Right, sorry. Billy Tor was a hiker who was last seen in a woodland area near the Rocky Mountains. It's the site of the Loxley Prison Massacre.
Never heard of it.
That's because it didn't happen in your reality. Loxley Prison was a minimum security facility near the area, mostly non-violent offenders, a few manslaughter cases, but ultimately people well on their way to rehabilitation and completion of sentences. The system is actually a lot more just than the one in yours and doesn't really have much in the way of for-profit prisons.
Speed, Doc, speed!
Sorry. The point is, about 100 years ago, there was a massive famine in the United States. The governor of Colorado concocted an elaborate conspiracy to kill the entire prisoner population of the state in order to help preserve food stores. 500 people from Loxley Prison were driven out to the woods and murdered before it was found out and stopped.
Which sucks, but what does that have to do with what's happening now?
It's reported that the last person who was killed survived long enough to scream out that if they did not gain justice in life, they would find it in death. My tricorder readings indicate high amounts of magical energy and ectoplasm in the area.
I knew it! He was cursed!
That's indeed the best guess that I can figure out. I found some kind of makeshift shelter in the mountains, full of bloody sheets and bags, possibly used in the original massacre. There are strange runic symbols on it that I haven't been able to translate yet. I'll contact you again when I have more.
How much longer, Nimue?
Pocket universe collapse imminent. Warning, proton pack is overheating. Automatic safety shutoff imminent.
Nimue, cascading force fields, as many as you can between us!
Confirmed.
Okay, it's been a few weeks and I think I've made some progress.
Reporting fast, dude!
Billy Tor was a regular hiker himself who stumbled upon the exact site of the massacre. Some of the prisoners weren't dead. They were dying, and they must have known some magic because they cursed the exact spot that Billy Tor stepped on. They're now in control of him.
Okay, so how does this help us?
Basically, Billy Tor is empowered by the souls of those 500 prisoners. You can't kill him because each time he would die, one soul is laid to rest while another takes its place, fueling him until he runs out of souls to use. It's like a cat with 9 lives, except in this case, it's 500.
You're saying I have to kill him 500 times to beat him?
Well, probably less than that, given some of the encounters he's had. Jeez.
I don't even think that lethal force would work in this contest. The Temlins wouldn't allow it.
Well, you have to. He's nigh unstoppable as long as he has those souls empowering him.
I've noticed! Doc, you need to find some other way!
I'll keep at it, but these souls want justice, Linkara. Some form of restitution. They lash out because the government refuses to apologize for what it did, even if the state didn't technically... I have an idea. I'll call you back in a few months, assuming it works.
Wait, what? Nimue, could we use Comicron 1's weapons? Fire the forward lance straight down through the roof at him?
Because of the use of the Pocket Universe shift, currently Comicron 1 lacks the power to fire forward lance in sufficient energy to pierce magical protection spells on House. In addition, proximity to blast would likely kill you as well.
Teleport the phaser rifle to me. We'll see if he likes that.
Unable to comply. Power levels insufficient for teleport. Incoming audio-visual transmission. Relaying to holographic view screen.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
My fellow Americans, I come before you today to right a most grievous wrong in this nation's history. 100 years ago, Colorado Governor Tarsis gave the order to murder the entire population of Loxley Prison to conserve food stores. 500 people lost their lives to this cruel, inhumane act. While some have argued that we should let the past be past, the victims of this injustice, not just the prisoners themselves, but their families, their descendants, cannot let that past rest. They feel the scars of it even today. On this day, I formally announce the funding of restitution to every living descendant of these victims in the form of $50,000 per person. The creation of a national monument in Hedgewood Forest in their memory, and most especially, a formal apology from both the United States government and the state government of Colorado. While we can never make up for the terrible deed that was committed on that dreadful day, hopefully their ghosts can rest easier. Thank you. Ha!
Wee wee wee.
What?
Congratulations, Linkara. Billy Tor has forfeited the match. You are the winner of this round.
What? So, how did your presidential term end?
In scandal, same as a certain other doctor's time as president.
You solicited a prostitute who was actually a cop?
No. I started a few legitimate relationships. 1 woman and 2 wonderful men. Unfortunately, one of those men was a Russian asset, and well, I spilled a few secrets to him. Still keeping in touch with all of them, though. That Russian accent is a turn-on.
Okay, 1, discovering you're bi, cool beans.
Pan and Polly, but go on.
2, I thought the time differential between universes was too much. They're probably dead by now.
Please, I'm not that sloppy. I stabilized the time differential between universes after I was impeached. I would have done it beforehand, but there is like no free time when you're president.
Well, the important thing is, another round of the contest has been won thanks to you, dude.
Indeed! So did I miss the race?
What are you talking about?
It feels like the space race with Sphinx Yonder didn't happen.
Yes, it did. You were there.
It's like storyline segments were presented out of order because of Halloween or something. I think there was a disclaimer about that too.
This sequence isn't gonna make any sense in the compilation.
And the compilations make sense in universe anyway? Here everyone, watch me almost get murdered and then save the world! I review comic books!
Okay, I think that's enough fourth wall breaking. Back to work.
Information. My cat is jingling on the stairs.
Hello my friends, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell for notifications on new video releases. If you'd like to support future videos, you can check out my Patreon or purchase a t-shirt via Teespring or Shark Robot. Thanks for watching!